Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about the 100 episode 704 titled Hesperides. Hopefully, I got that right. Which premiered Wednesday, June 10th, 2020 on the CW. I am recording roughly an hour after the episode has aired, so huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, and then come back and see what I have to say about this episode. Other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. Guys, this was a pretty good episode in regards to moving things along for sure, but I definitely highly suggest watching it. Don't just take my word for it. So I'll try to do this in 30 minutes. Hopefully, my track record with the 100 is fluctuates a lot when it comes to the lengths. So let's see how I do. But let's start off with what happened in this episode. So timeline wise, here's the thing. So it technically on Skyring, it continues from where 702 ended off, and that is 702 ended where we got a 10-year-old Hope being left alone on Skyring after Bardo had taken Octavia and her mom away through the anomaly. So this episode for 10-year-old Hope picks up from where that moment left off. And then we kind of get the whole flashback progression for it. And then as regards to the present day, I guess, on Skyring. It seems like maybe it could be a few hours because the first time we see the present Hope, Echo, and Gabriel, they seem to have captured the prisoner who either they've just captured the prisoner who destroyed their tablet, or shortly after he destroyed it, and they just started roughing him up. So it's a little iffy there. But in regards to Sanctum, though, it's shortly after the events of 703 because the kills that happened from the reactor core, the radiation leaking out from that. It seems to be very new for Raven, plus her injuries from the end of 703, so they seem to be still new and raw. They're definitely not bandaged up. I can't remember how much bruising she had on her, but I'm assuming it's either the next day or at least 2 days after what happened in 703. So those are my guesses there. It's a little iffy now. Timelines can be very important now that we're dealing with an anomaly that deals with so many different places in the timeline kind of thing. So that was my understanding for it. But the episode reminder, though, for this one, I'd say is the fact that Sanctum is finally, or I shouldn't say Sanctum, Clarke and the crew are aware of Skyring, or at least they're aware of Bardo. They don't know the names, though, because all their information is known through the symbols and what they're being told by the Bardo soldiers, who they know are the disciples, are named as the disciples. So there's that. The objective of the episode is on Skyring, it's training on all fronts until Absolution Day arrives, and that's when the Bardo soldiers come and open the wormhole bridge for them to get the prisoner back to Bardo. So there's that in both the flashback and the present day for the characters there. And then for Sanctum, the objective is trying to get their friends back, or at least trying to get information about where their friends are. So there's that. So the episode storylines, though, I'm going to split it off into two, and that's specifically either what's happening on Skyring and then what's happening on Sanctum. So with the first storyline, you kind of got two different ones going on Skyring. First one being the flashback, which deals with the 10-year-old Hope, 10-year-old Hope trying to live on Skyring alone, and then meeting the prisoner Dev, and how they kind of become a family during his 10-year sentence, to the point that he's training her. And then we also find when his 10-year sentence is up is what Hope, how she froze during Absolution Day and didn't kill when she needed to kill, which resulted in Dev being killed instead. So that's something there. And then you get present day Hope happening where she's with Echo and Gabriel, and now they have to spend the next 5 years of Orlando's sentencing to not only befriend him and get him to trust them, but also have him train them so that they can easily infiltrate Bardo to get their friends, because apparently Orlando is a level 12, which is like a pretty high up ranking in the system on Bardo. I think it's the highest, because I think Hope said that there's only 12 symbols, and each symbol represents a level, I believe. But there's that. But also, to show the passage of time, though, we do get new haircuts from Hope and Echo, and they both have the Bardo marks on them drawn, which I will bring up later. I can't recall if Gabriel ever got them or not. But there's that, and that's what's going on with Skyring. So for them, we do see them get off the planet. So their 5 years has passed and it's up. Now with Sanctum, though, we see Clarke and the others becoming aware of their friends missing. So they still think it's Bellamy, Echo, and Octavia. Specifically, they're mentioning they don't know about Diyoza. They don't know about Hope. They don't mention Gabriel because they don't know where he stands on that with them. So there's that. But they do find out. They kind of get confronted by the Bardo soldiers. They find out that they're called the Disciples. And they're kind of given a deal where Clarke comes with them freely back to their lead disciple. In exchange, they'll give and answer a few questions, and then they'll give their friends back. But that does not go as planned, for sure. They ended up finding out that Clarke is actually wanted. The Bardo screens actually show her wanting to be brought in for questioning. And they know that she was once called Sheidheda, which we'll talk about later. But we do find out the lead disciple knows that was talking with Clarke. He knows about Orlando's suicide after he was betrayed by Hope, Echo, and Gabriel in what happened with Skyring. So that means that they must have, they probably, when they went to go put the next prisoner there, they probably found the whole massacre happening, or they probably went back when their soldiers didn't return, or when Orlando didn't return like he was supposed to. They went back and found what had happened, and Orlando had left a suicide note. So, as far as we know, all characters we know and accounted for should be up to date. The only ones we have no idea where they are in our current timeline, and that is with Clarke Co, is that we don't know how long it's been for Bellamy, Octavia, Diyoza, Echo, Gabriel, and now Hope. Right? Oh, I really need to draw a timeline here. But yeah, there's that. Last moments of the episode show Clarke, Raven, Miller, Jordan, and Niylah being on the Icy Planet after going through the anomaly bridge, and then it shuts down, stopping them from coming back, and now they have to search for that planet's anomaly stone. Because they went to the Icy Planet, the one of 4 options, trying to trace back Bardo's trail. So I think they're trying to go back to Bardo, and they couldn't, in the Bardo helmet system, they couldn't just tell them a certain name, because the whole it's run by thoughts, and if they don't know the proper thoughts or symbols, then they can't pull up the reference in the technology. So it's not labeled as Bardo, it's not labeled as Skyring, or it's not labeled as Sanctum. It's all by symbols. So they're kind of really going in the dark here for that. So we get an Icy Planet for that. Now let's move on to characters very quickly. With Hope, again, as I mentioned before, the creator, Jason Rothenberg, he said that Hope was supposed to be 22 years old when we met her in 613. So now that she has spent 5 years on Skyring with Gabriel, Echo, and Orlando, that puts her at 27 years old. Now, either, because from the flashbacks, we've seen her have 10 years with her mom and Octavia, and then we've seen her spend 10 years with Dev. So that's only 20, and she's supposed to be 22. So either there are 2 years unaccounted for in Hope's life that we don't know about, or Hope had spent 2 years as a kid alone on Skyring before Dev arrived to serve his 10-year sentence. Those are the 2 options I have there. Otherwise, the only other option is the 2 missing years would have been her first time through the anomaly bridge after Dev was shortly killed, like that time. So I'm still wondering which of the 2 options we have. Also with Echo, I mentioned before that she now has the new Bardo symbols drawn onto her, I think representing that she's level 12. Hope's got updated so that she was now level 12, so there's that. And after 5 years, Echo is still as loyal and as, or I guess more determined than ever to find Bellamy and to bring him home. So that is something there. With Raven, we find that she is haunted by Hatch specifically, since he died due to the reactor core and her decisions for it. So she's kind of seeing his ghost in a moment with the Bardo soldier that was dead in the suit she's supposed to examine. We also see her put on the suit and actually kill 8 of the Bardo soldiers to save Clarke and the others. And she is not okay with this. She's still reeling over that. I don't know if it was 8 Bardo soldiers or if she was, because she said, I've killed 8 people. I don't know if she was, like, it was 4 Bardo soldiers and the 4 with the reactor core, or if she just meant, just now I just killed 8 people. I'm thinking, now that I think of it, it's probably 4 and 4. But there's that. And then with Gaia, she was actually attacked in her final scene of the episode and then pulled into the anomaly just before the connection closed, therefore stopping her from going back to protect Maddie and to warn her mother, Indra, about this Bardo force and preparing Sanctum for a possible invasion. So because Gaia went through, even though Clarke was under the assumption that Gaia would go back and warn the rest of One Crew, she wasn't able to do that because one of the soldiers kind of pulled her through instead. So we don't know where she's going. She might be going back to Bardo itself. So that's something there. But moving on to tidbits very quickly. We did get a brief flashback with Octavia telling a 10-year-old Hope about Hesperides, which from what I remember had to deal with 3 maidens guarding a golden apple. I think Hercules was mentioned. I would have to go back and check the Greek myth about that, but it had to do with the specific flowers that Octavia planted in the garden as well. But that's the one time we actually see Octavia in the episode, so that was something there. We do get confirmation from not only Gabriel in his understanding, but also with the lead disciple that Clarke was dealing with. We find out that time on Bardo is running faster than time on Sanctum. Skyring is running faster than both of them. So like a few days or a few years on Skyring could be only a few days on Bardo, yet one day on Sanctum could easily be a century on Skyring or centuries on Skyring. So I really want to chart that out, like make a map of like their distances and stuff. But it was pretty cool because when Raven was able to access the Bardo suit with the technology and it was run by thoughts, which was so cool as well, it actually showed an image of the galaxy and how the different wormholes were connecting. It had 2 planets connected to one, and then a different 2 planets connected to another one. So it was pretty interesting to see that. I hope someone got a screenshot of it and post it somewhere because I really want to further further look at it and actually, because it was very quick on screen when it was happening. I need a moment to digest that information that was revealed in that map. So there's that. We also find out that there's a process called memory capture that Bardo does that is painful if the person resists, but it essentially allows them to take the full memories out of a person and extract data from that. The lead disciple guy did reference that as well too, kind of threatened Clarke with it, with like, you can answer our questions or we can just hook you up to our machine and we can get all the answers from there, kind of a thing. So there's that. We do find out that Bardo has information about 6 planets, one of them being Sanctum, and one of them being offline. I'm assuming that's maybe Skyring. I'm not sure. But then that is why Clarke and the others said that there was 4 other planet options they had to go investigate to see if they could find their friends. So there is that. I just thought of another question. Hold on. All right, wrote it down. We'll talk about it later. So there's that. I did mention the Bardo symbols already. Also, Orlando lets reveal that there's the Bardo's belief system of a shepherd having brought them all to Bardo. Apparently, Gabriel associated the shepherd being referenced to Allegius 3, although Orlando always told him not to mention the shepherd or the shepherd by name. But Gabriel thinks the whole thing is just another false god ideology that was going on. We also find out that Raven didn't know that Jordan was shot, and since they last worked together in 601, Jordan was shot in like the middle of season 6. So that's quite something that she wasn't made aware of that. But she does apologize that they couldn't get back to him sooner. So there's that. And then Hope finds out that Diyoza was a terrorist or a freedom fighter, depending what story you find out. But she does now realize with that information that she now understood why her mom never wanted her to train to fight like Octavia, because she never wanted her mom never wanted her to become like her, if that makes sense. So there's that. There's a lot of like generational understanding going on for sure. So there's that. Let's move on to the most shocking moment of the episode. I think for me it has to be the fact that Orlando was left behind on Skyring to die. essentially, or at least to be left alone for his insanity, kind of a thing. We find out that he ended up committing suicide, taking his own life because he just didn't want to be left alone. I just felt that was really sad after the dynamic we got to see of them the previous 24 hours before, when they were preparing for this battle, and then they were just being so family-like together, and like and just being like, you're gonna miss us, like, what are you gonna do when we're gone, like, and then he admits, like, of course we're gonna miss you, kind of thing. It just, that was a shock, just the fact that they betrayed him. Like, I understood why on a logical level, but then, like, on a logic standpoint, but at the same time, it's like, wow, 5 years with this person, and but then, like, I can understand with his reaction to Hope killing that one soldier, and his reaction to that when he specifically said not to kill, and Echo's saying, like, he knew that girl, and then it was just like, how many more people are going to come across, and he is going to react in the exact same way. He was a liability, but at the same time, it's like, I was so surprised. So there's that. But moving on to parallels very quickly, there's not as many that would have been more obvious, like in the previous episodes, but I figured the relationship that Hope had with Dev and then had with Orlando could be very on the forms of parallel, just because the fact that she bonded with these people also makes me wonder if the way she treated Orlando, if it was more like a con mentality, because like she learned from Dev what to do and what not to do kind of a situation, or she genuinely followed the same pattern with Orlando without even realizing it. But the way she reacted to both kinds was something in itself. Also, kind of either a parallel or a callback, but it's when Clarke gives advice to Raven about her kills, and how Raven says that she can't forget the faces of those she was the cause of their deaths for. Clarke instead says, well, remember those that you saved. Remember the faces of those that you saved. Which I thought was really telling, because it's got to be something that Clarke had to either be told before, or if she had to learn about that as her way to cope through all the kills that she was responsible for. So that's something there. But let's move on to top 3 favorite moments. The first one has to be Raven discovering how the Bardo suit works. The fact that it's run on thought alone and it doesn't have an external power source. That is pretty cool in itself. Not only is that, but also the information she was able to see through the suit, and just to see how expansive, I hope that makes sense, how expansive the universe is, and just seeing that and working through that technology, and then getting her fascination from seeing that was just amazing to see. Like I said, I do need to see that scene again. Thankfully, that scene specifically is one of the sneak peeks they revealed before the episode, so I can go back and pause that one and just take it all in a little bit more. So that was pretty cool there. Another thing that I liked about the episode was the Skyring Dynamics. It was very interesting to see how, because it's just very interesting because the people on Sanctum, it's only been 1 day, but for people on Skyring, it's been years. And just to see the progression of it, and then just to see how different their dynamics have changed for them, a very lengthy process, but for Sanctum, it's like a blink of an eye kind of a thing. But specifically, the Hope and Dev, the way that they kind of did half montagey, half like dialogue type to express the 10 years that they had together. I really liked how they did it. I cried when Dev died. I wasn't expecting that, but just the way that they portrayed how they took care of, how she nursed him back to health when he ate those hate berries when she told him not to, and he did it thinking that she was just telling him not to do it, when she was like legit telling him no. And then to him training her how to throw a knife, and then just like them being there for each other for 10 years, and then to have, it was just, her having to lose him the way that she did, I wasn't expecting that. But then it does make sense, not only because we saw the dead body, but because if she actually still had him in her life, I feel like she would have mentioned him beforehand, kind of a thing. But yeah, it definitely gave me the vibe, because she spent 10 years with him. She pretty much spent the remaining half of her life with him. It kind of felt like he had become either like the father figure, or either like the cool uncle kind of a thing. that she didn't have initially in the first 10 years. So, yeah. I don't know. That one hit me the hardest, I'd have to say. But it was really well done how they portrayed it, though. Like, just like cinematically, I guess you could say. But then the other dynamic, though, that was really telling was Hope and Echo, and then Gabriel on the side. But Hope and Echo specifically, because when the 5 years was up, the 5-year sentence was up, and Hope made her first kill to save Echo, Echo's response to that was not only a thank you, but more of like this gesture of like camaraderie and like being family. And it's just very different from when they first met, and Hope was just very like antagonistic towards Echo because of the stories that she learned about Echo from Octavia growing up. So, and then to see them being family and comrades after 5 years, it's just like, it was such a huge growth for them there, and I'm all for that. And then also they're both sharing the same pixie cut look, kind of. It is pixie cut, right? It's either that or the very short hair, which I really like. So it was just, they've come a long way, I thought. So there was that. And the third favorite I had, is the fact that Clarke stood her ground against the disciples and didn't back down. She stayed true to the intel they gathered about her, and she wasn't going to waver. And it was very interesting to see the leader kind of, he's not the true leader, he's not Anders, but leader of this group. That it was good to see him see her stay true to the info they got about her, but also to kind of summarize the fact that Clarke is willing to do anything and everything, even if it's at the expense of her own life, but she's not willing to do so if it's at the expense of her friends, kind of a thing. So it was very interesting to see like an outsider's perspective on Clarke as a character. So I thought that was pretty cool. But also just kind of reconfirms the fact of how badass Clarke is. So I'll leave it at that. But let's move on to top 3 peeved moments. The only peeve I really have is the fact that we don't have actual real news about the state that Bellamy, Octavia, and Diyoza are in. I mean, the disciple guy, he makes reference of the fact that like they have their friends, but he doesn't name them. He only makes reference to the fact that her people have killed 9 of his Bardo people, and we know that that is specifically Hope, Gabriel, and Echo. But he never names any one of them. So the fact that we only have them, it's a peeve. Like, I understand why on a creative level, on a storytelling level, that it doesn't make sense to jump to where they are now and see scenes of like what state they're in right now. It doesn't make sense to reveal that. But on a fan level, I'm frustrated because I want to know if they're okay or not. Are they being tortured? Are they just stuck in a cell? How long has it been since they've left Sanctum, or how long has it been since they left Skyring? You know what I mean? So that's the peeve there. But let's move on to random questions very quickly. First one: did prisoner Dev, know about Hope before he was sentenced to Skyring? Because when they showed that flashback of Kid Hope watching him, and then like she was defending her house and say like, go away, this is my house, and then he turns around, he smiles. So I don't know if that was a smile because like he knew about Hope, or if he was smiling because he wasn't actually going to be serving his sentence in isolation. So that's a question there. Second question was, if Dev never returned to Bardo, then how did Orlando know about Hope? Because we have to remember in 702, when Hope returned to Skyring, Orlando was already there. He made a doll named Hope, and he kept referencing to Hope as if he knew her. He kept saying that Hope likes pumpkin seeds. And yet this seemed like that was the first time that Hope ever met him. So I'm wondering, how did Orlando know about Hope? Is it because of his access as a level 12 that he had information about Hope, which would mean that Bardo themselves had information about Hope, which leads me to believe that it had to come from Octavia or Diyoza themselves, and he knew before going into his prison sentence that he knew about Hope? Or I don't know if there's something in the cabin that left a clue of her existence. No idea. But Yeah. Especially since the Bardo soldiers in 701 had a kill order put on Hope. We definitely know that they know about her. But I'm not sure to what extent the prisoners knew about her. Like, were they told about her before they sentenced a prisoner there, right? So that's one there. And another question, do you believe that Echo would return to Sanctum with the new haircut? I am under the belief that they would, which would then signify that Echo is actually 5 years older than when she left Sanctum, because if she can still keep the haircut, that means that the time that has passed for her is still staying with her. Because I know there is some question or there's some discussion in the comments for, I can't remember who specifically, because I've had some very lengthy conversations between two commenters specifically, MCO and Mr. Legendary AO, thank you. But it was brought up whether or not with Octavia, since she was only in the anomaly for a split second, and yet in that split second we saw her live 10 years on Skyring, if she was actually 10 years older or not, even though she came back to Skyrim looking the exact same as she left. The only difference being her aging hand was now back to normal. Now, I can understand why there might be a confusion because she actually did look the same. But because Echo actually changed, she cut her hair, I'm left wondering if she does return to Sanctum and her hair is still cut, then I'm going to continue with my theory that she is actually 5 years older than when she left Sanctum. That means Octavia is actually 10 years older than when she first left through the anomaly. Therefore, she's older than Bellamy. But then that can also be a question of like how much older is Bellamy now that he's on Bardo and so forth and such which. So there's that theory question right there for you. We'll have to wait and see to get more questions about that. And then another question was, I am under the impression that the memory capture was done on Octavia at least because Bardo knew information about Clarke, Bellamy, Gabriel, Echo, and Hope. So, and then they could just get further more information if they captured Bellamy and get further more from that. And then if they needed more information about like maybe the time on Earth before Prime Fire happened, and that would be from Diyoza herself. So they can extract a lot of information from all that. But then I'm left wondering, how much of a disadvantage does that put Clarke and the rest of her people at if they have captured all these memories and knowledges from the people they captured, or from like the people they took from us that are now prisoners? Like, you know what I mean? But that's a question there. And then my last question was, at the very end of the episode, we see Clarke, Raven, Miller, Jordan, and Niylah go through the anomaly and land on this icy planet. Here's the thing, though. Raven is the only one that had the Bardo suit. And yet, all 5 of them still retain their memories after they came off of the anomaly bridge. I was under the impression that that in order to retain their memories, they had to wear the Bardo helmet. Because we've seen Octavia lose her memories as she's gone through the anomaly. We've seen Hope lose her memories when she's come to the anomaly and back to Sanctum. Both of them did not have a helmet. Plus, when Octavia and Diyoza were arrested, quote unquote, or detained from the Bardo soldiers from Skyring, before they brought them through the anomaly, helmets were put on their heads to kind of stop, because they said that they wanted their memories intact. And also when Hope went through the anomaly twice from Skyring, she was wearing the helmet, and then Gabriel and Echo were wearing the helmet as well to go through. So I'm assuming the suit itself has to be used in order to retain the memory. And yet, we see Clarke, Jordan, and Niylah, and Miller all go through to the Icy Planet and still keep their memories. So I'm wondering, which is it? Does it depend on which direction they're passing through the anomaly that might affect the memory? Is it how they travel through the anomaly, where like Octavia and Hope seem to be pulled through when they lost their memories as opposed to just walking through like they were meant to when they had their suit on? I have no idea. I'm glad that Clarke, Raven, or Clarke, Jordan, Miller, and Niylah have their memories, because it would have kind of sucked for Raven to be the only one to keep their memories and then try to wrangle these 5 people into doing this mission. But then at the same time, it doesn't fit with what has already been established in the previous 4 episodes when it came to the memory loss and the anomaly connection. So I'm wondering what you guys think about that, or if maybe I missed it, an explanation for that, if you will. So there's that. But very quickly, let's go to predictions. For the promo, it shows Sheidheda in the body of Russell, bringing new rules over Sanctum from the looks of it, and it seems like Murphy is trying to fight against it with Indra, yet he gets retained at some point. I have no idea. It's going to be a shit show there if Sheidheda is in control. But then we also see Octavia being hooked up to the memory capture machine. So maybe we'll finally see Octavia, but then I don't know if that's going to be memory version Octavia, where like she's in the memory capture shortly after she was first detained from Skyring, or if this is Octavia being in the memory capture machine after she had the location tag shot into her by Hope in 613. But we'll get to see Octavia again, for sure. I'm hoping it's present day, quote-unquote present day Octavia. But there's that. The synopsis, though, for the episode reads, Octavia gets to know a whole new world. Meanwhile, Murphy and Emori play make-believe. So maybe this Octavia will be the flashback Octavia. I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, it would be great to learn about Bardo through her, for sure. So there's that. And then it looks like Murphy and Emori are going to have to be Daniel and Kaylee in order to stop Sheidheda, who they still think is Russell. So we're going to have some false god problems going on Sanctum. So there is that. But that is pretty much it, guys. So what did you guys think of the episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your thoughts, theories, and opinions on what you think will happen next. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want to check out my Tumblr page, link for that is down below. I reblog, promos, web clips, quotes, GIFs, synopses, news, all the good stuff, all found in one place. Go check that out. I am behind. I'm currently in week 8 of 10 of my current screenwriting semester, I should say. And it's all final assignments right now. But hopefully on the break between, I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's thunderstorming outside and the rain's hard. But anyways. But yeah, so I should be focusing on that. But the 100 is like my one reprieve from homework each week. So I wanted to give some time to share my thoughts with you guys about that. But yeah, so hopefully for a few short weeks, I'll be able to update Tumblr with all the new 100 stuff that has been coming up. So be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, WordPress, link for that is down below. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress. It's a little more organized, a little more detailed, but still a work in progress. Again, same thing applies about updating that as well. But otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you guys come back next week to see what I have to say about this next episode. Things are picking up fast. I can't wait to learn more about Bardo. So until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week wherever you are. Take care. Bye for now.